Hello, Silver King owners. This is Jason Linder. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for All Seasons Resort Lodging. And this presentation is a recreation of the presentation that I gave in December to the Silver King ownership that attended the annual meeting. And as I know not all of you were able to attend, I wanted to re-record this presentation so you could watch it if you had time and interest. It is unfortunately now February. It's taken me a while to get to this. I was more focused on generating and maximizing revenue for all of you and us, which I believe you would agree is a priority. But I did still want to get this done. So now that it is February, I'm going to jump past this first section, which is the travel market review, and jump right into the meat of the presentation, as we now know what transpired for much of the winter, and we also know what the global and economic conditions are. And you're well aware that the economy is strong, very conducive for travel, especially in the upper income segments. It is worth pointing out really quick, locally, one of the things we discussed in the presentation was some of the challenges we faced early on with the Vail situation and the potential threat that Park City Mountain Resort might not open. That did have some negative impact for a little while, but of course that did settle itself out early in the fall, and we rebounded from that very well. And the only other local thing really that I'd mention really quick, now that it is February, we know much of one of the most important things, which is snow conditions. And we're having a great year for sure, but the weather has been a concern. Conditions are still very low, as you're probably aware. We've seen significant amount of rain this year that I've never seen before. So very warm conditions, starting to have a bit of an impact. We're having guests talk about that, but so far so good. We are trying to stay ahead of it as we look at our spring promotions and making sure we're being aggressive to get business on the books in case things don't turn around. All right, so now we'll move right into how are we doing at the Silver King, which is the most important piece. And just a couple things to highlight real quick here. So this 2014 was a great year for us. Our second highest revenue in 6 years, just missed the top number. And this shows a forecast. This is basically where we actualized since this number was generated in early December. So again, we had a great year overall, and if we look at this from a RevPAR perspective, revenue per available room, it was even better. It might have been our best year actually. We had a lot of owner usage was up this year, and we're also short about 1 unit for the year, which did impact our overall top line. More importantly though, is how that relates to each individual unit. This might be something you want to pause and look at for a minute, but I'll highlight and then move on. So what we're looking at here is this light blue represents our returns for 2013, and the dark blue represents our gross revenue returns for 2014. Again, this is gross revenue, not the owner split. So if we look at the dark blue, the 2014, we can see one piece I really like to see is in the studio category, the premiums made a significant amount more than the standard. So I really like that distribution here. And then as we move into the 1 bedrooms, it's a little less, not quite as large of a separation. And then into the 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, we have such limited inventory that this was probably down in 2014 simply because of the limited inventory we have and probably owner usage there. 1 or 2 reservations can make a swing there. An observation that I have is I would like to continue to see the premiums make more than the standards. We really want to see that separation continue to grow into the 20 to 30% range to reward those owners that have invested and have the nice units, and which also, of course, impacts our guest experience, which impacts our guest reviews. So very important. So we definitely, it's a focus for us to continue to try to push the premiums. It can be a little challenging at the Silver King because we run such a high occupancy with the property being so popular that when it's occupied, when the house is full, everyone's getting revenue, which is a good thing, but it limits the ability to really separate that out with the premiums. Um, so moving on, I want to focus heavily on the presentation here and what's new and improved this year, and there's a lot of benefits here, and these are the different categories we're going to talk about. But first and foremost, I wanted to talk about our booking engine. So we invested really heavily this last year into a new system. This is a screenshot just of the consumer booking process. What's most important about our booking engine is not what the consumer sees, it's what is in the back end, and that's what we invested in. What we have now for the first time is a full connection from start to finish from our reservation system to our booking engine to our third-party partners such as Expedia, Orbitz, Booking.com, Priceline. So now they are connected into our inventory live all the way back from our reservation system, and including with our rates and our length of stay restrictions and our promotions. So what this does for us is a few things. One, it allows us to have live inventory, which is a great thing to maximize our sales because we can really sell that last room availability. It also limits our chances of overbookings because the system is being updated almost instantaneously. Typically within about a 15-minute window. If a booking happens, it comes all the way back into our reservation system and reduces the inventory accordingly. Most importantly, what it does for us is it allows us to yield our rates more effectively. So we really pride ourselves on more of an airline model with our revenue management, where we're changing our rates and our restrictions and our promotions a couple times a week, if not sometimes daily. And with this full connectivity, it allows any change we make to be seen out in the open market almost instantly. So it allows really rapid changes, allows us to react to situations really quickly, and allows us to maintain parity, which is very important, across our platforms. If we don't have parity, if we're charging less in one location than another, then we naturally get in trouble with Expedia or others, and it hurts our sort order. So a lot of great benefits with this new system. Another thing that it does on a smaller end is it allows us to continue to upsell our guests. So in this situation, I had shopped a studio standard, and the next step offers for only $26 more a day to upgrade to a premium, or for $42 to upgrade to a one-bedroom. Another great thing that our new system allows is meta booking capabilities. Meta booking capabilities is new in the travel industry. The booking model is shifting somewhat. We've typically had the Expedias and all of those that we connect to, and recently, over the last couple of years, I'm sure you're very familiar with Kayak. But in addition to that, you can now book travel on TripAdvisor, which you really could not do direct before. It would direct you to Expedia or others. Google's getting into the market, and some others. And here we have a screenshot of Kayak. So Kayak aggregates and shows all the booking options. And what's new for us, that top listing that's highlighted here, Silver King, that's our booking engine. So now, in addition to the third parties, we are represented here, and this would count as a direct booking. They would link through to our website and book with us direct, which is great because it costs us a lot less. Now, in this example, Kayak and TripAdvisor would be similar. We would pay a 15% commission for this direct booking. Now, 15% is significantly less than we would pay on Expedia, 25%, or Travelocity, Orbitz, Hotels.com, all 25%. So anything we can do to drive more direct bookings is beneficial in driving our average daily rate. And before our system, our new booking engine, we did not have this ability. And quite frankly, very few of our competitors still have this ability. Most of them do not have this. So it's a great competitive advantage. Another small thing, or relatively big thing, is we're trying to continually look for ways to drive our overall revenue and rate. Second piece we've invested very heavily in is in our online reputation management. As you are, I'm sure, well aware, guest reviews online are hugely important. They're now actually, this is new in the last couple of years, online guest reviews are now the number one factor in where a guest chooses to stay. And that's above location and price, which used to be the number one and two. So now people look at the reviews more than anything else on helping to determine where they're going to stay. So obviously very important, and so we invested really heavily into a new system that allows us to track and manage our reviews and be notified instantly when reviews happen, allows us to respond, allows us to do a lot of different things. The system is called Review Pro, and here's a screenshot of the dashboard. I'll highlight a few things. First off is this Global Review Index, which means how does the Silver King score when we aggregate our reviews from all sources, Expedia, Orbitz, TripAdvisor, Priceline, Booking.com. Silver King is averaging an 85% out of 100 score, which is pretty good. We'd definitely like to see that higher. This is year-to-date view, so a positive here is we're up 1.3% in the calendar year. As compared to, if you jump down here, I think you can see my mouse, we have our competitor average. So of the Silver King's competitive set, our competitors are at an 80, and they went down slightly for the year. So while they're at an 80, we're at an 85, so that's positive. Shows us we had 210 reviews in the year. And then this competitive quality index shows that the Silver King has a 106%. 100% would be the index, meaning that would mean if we had 100%, we would be exactly equal to our competitive set. So being above that represents that we're outperforming our competitors. And here we saw a 2.7% change as we went up and our competitors went down. Comparatively, we went up even more when we look at that as an index. So now here's a snapshot of our competitive set that was entered that we have or comparing ourselves against. So we have Hotel Park City, who has a great review score of 94%. So we're below that at 85%. Lodge in Mountain Village is at a 73%, so that's great for the Silver King, well above that. Marriott Mountainside is at an 87%, slightly above Silver King, but I would look at that as a positive, with that being obviously a very nice property, newer, ski in, ski out, fantastic pool, the Marriott brand, of course, so that's a good comparison. Shadow Ridge, also well ahead of, and then Yarrow. Naturally, the Silver King should be ahead of the Yarrow, and it's well ahead of the Yarrow, which is a positive. Okay. Semantic analysis. What this does a couple things here. It shows us when we're getting our reviews, so we can analyze if there are certain periods where we're getting more negative reviews, and then we can try to look into why. You know, like here in the middle of summer was a big chunk where we received more negative reviews than anything. So that would be something we'd want to look at. Semantic reviews, what that means is the system aggregates terms such as bed, hotel, location, and brings in all those reviews together and lets us analyze each of those things independently, which we'll see here. So this is our top negative and positive mentions for the property, which tells us a lot about what people are saying. So the number one positive, 76 positive reviews in relation to the room, which is good. However, more importantly, 15 negative reviews. It was by far the biggest negative mention, the biggest place that we get hammered as a property. So that's very much something we want to focus on and that we are focusing on, which I will talk about in just a minute. Um, Along those same lines, bed, we had 6 negative mentions, which when we only had 11 positive and 6 negative, that's not a good ratio at all, and again speaks to um, condition of the unit, quality, things like that that we really need to focus on. The hotel, 29 positive, 6 negative, speaks along the same lines as we talk about, the condition of a property and, as it ages and how we can stay ahead of that. Spa, sleep, staff, so this would be us, All Seasons Resort Lodging, 33 positive, 3 negative. Location, 43 positives, 1 negative. So great ratio there. And now what I want to do we're going to dive into these negative mentions so we can understand those a little bit more. So this is focusing on the room. So here's a few examples of recent reviews in the last year. So I really would have liked this place if the room wasn't filthy and full of broken stuff. Room had heavy dark furnishings and drapes that were not clean. The only thing keeping this from a 5-star rating is that my room seemed a bit worn out. All speaking to, perhaps some of more dated units. Cleanliness often also relates to if something is dated, such as drapes, it's hard it's hard to get those clean enough where they feel clean. And then as we look at the bed, bed has a huge impact. If the consumer's not happy with their bed or their room, then that's a hard one to overcome. And so as we look at some of these bed responses, the room was great, although the bed wasn't very comfortable. Cons, horrible pillows, 80s decor, the bed was horrible, the bed wasn't the best, the pillows were a little thin. So this is an area that we're really focusing on in our minimum standard reviews. We weigh this very heavily. If a unit does not have a good bed, then they get dinged significantly in their reviews. We also talked about during the annual meeting of how important the bed is and what we can do. At some of our other properties, we've moved to all units having the exact same bedding package of as I'm sure you've seen in a lot of hotels recently, where you just have the clean white comforter and no blanket on top of it. That's what we discussed moving towards, and the ownership was very supportive of that. Okay, so along the same lines, enhanced minimum standards evaluations, as we've continued to identify the importance of guest reviews, and the number one factor is the condition of the unit. We really put a lot of energy behind this year, our minimum standards evaluation, which hopefully you noticed. Much more in depth this year, where we really analyze every single piece of your unit and allow you to really see notes about each of those items so you can understand where you're getting dinged and where you're getting positives. Now, this was our first year. We already have a bunch of ideas on how we can improve this for this next year. It did take us a little while to get this out for 2014 because it was such a huge process for us. So we're committed to getting this out earlier in the year. I believe the goal is May 1st to have these in your hands, I believe. So therefore, we have plenty of time to address anything within the evaluation. Another new thing here, expanded direct booking initiatives. We have been pushing hard to continually get people to book direct. We don't want them to book on Expedia and the others because naturally that costs us heavily. We do already get a good percentage of our bookings direct, 50, 55%, but this winter we're really pushing to swing that more in our favor. And we're doing things, we're trying to enhance reasons why a guest would book with us direct rather than through third parties. Here are a few examples of what we're doing. First off is pre-arrival concierge service. So if you book with us direct, and we advertise that if you're making a reservation direct with us, you will receive complimentary concierge service, which is really honestly a great service, costs the guest nothing, and a great benefit. So what we do is after they make the reservation, within about 48 hours, our concierge calls and introduces themselves, asks if they have any current needs, such as transportation, ski rentals, things like that, and also lets them know that they'll be following up prior to their arrival, about 2 to 3 weeks prior to their arrival, to discuss the final plans of their trip and anything that we can help arrange, such as groceries in the room, restaurant recommendations, whatever it is. So we've had a great response from this. Point of all this is you only get this service if you book with us direct. The second thing, we've had this, well, there's two pieces of information here. This is a more snow, less dough. So if you book 5+ nights with us, we're going to give you, sometimes this is blacked out as well, but for the most part, if you book during the winter, you book 5 or more nights, we're going to give you $100 off our rates. This is only available for direct bookings, and it's not something that Expedia or others can flag us for. They don't see that we're doing this. So if we have someone comparatively shopping between Expedia and our website, we want to make sure they book direct, and if they're going to save $100, that $100 is going to cost us a lot less than 25% on a $2,000 reservation. And we do know, of course, that they are comparatively shopping. We know, in fact, that 1 out of 3 people that go to Expedia end up booking direct with us, and we want to actually push that to an even greater percentage that book direct. We also, this has been in place for a while, Follow and Prosper. If they follow us on Facebook, they're going to receive a $10 gift certificate upon check-in to a local restaurant or shop. Again, that's only if you book direct. TrueBlue Perks communication. We launched this TrueBlue Perks program. That's a return guest program. In about the last year, we've done that. So we're continuing to try to increase our email communication to our return guests and do unique offerings, like we did this Black Friday BOGO, buy one get one free, for early December bookings. Cyber Monday, 30% off select dates. And then lastly here, we're reducing distribution to increase direct bookings during high demand periods. So we know we don't need Expedia's help over Christmas in large room types and over Sundance and President's Weekend and spring break. They do push us pretty hard on having inventory at all times. But because of our new two-way connection, we can much better control. In a couple clicks, I can turn off and block a distribution for a 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom from Expedia over the holidays. And so we're doing much more of that this year. And we're seeing that have a great impact on our revenues and rates. So again, if we can reduce that distribution, we're going to save on those commissions, which is working quite well for us this winter. One more new thing here, new social media expert. We hired someone that came from a background of doing social media, and we're looking to continually expand here. I wouldn't say we're pros in this category, but we're looking to continually use this as a way to communicate with our guests and ultimately get them to maintain awareness of us and book direct. All right, so that's the what's new. And then very lastly, I want to talk about Vail Resorts. Obviously, that's on everybody's mind here, and I'm sure some of you, and I'm sure many of you have your Epic Pass, which is a great benefit. So a few things I want to highlight on here. So first and foremost, we're excited about this opportunity. We think economically it's great for Park City. It's great for Silver King owners. It's great for your real estate. There's a lot of positives here. And of course, we're very excited. They're investing, I believe it's around $50 million this year into on-mountain enhancements. We were talking about restaurants, new high-speed lifts, of course, the connection between Park City and the canyons. Very exciting. So in addition to a better experience, this is going to drive more visitors to Park City, which means more visitors to the Silver King and our ability to increase rate this next year. And that's where we think we'll see the biggest impact is next year. With all the news that's been going on, we think people are really going to look to take advantage of this next season. And in general, how do we look at this threat or opportunity when we look at Vail? We very much look at this as an opportunity. We're not scared to have Vail here and at the base, and we look at it as a positive for us and a positive for you. With more visitors, better experience, that just means increased occupancy, average daily rate, and overall revenue. Now, one reason we're not nervous about having them here, we think Vail's a great company, and they do a lot, and they do a lot of things well. But we do one thing, and we do it very well. We focus on lodging. That's 100% of our focus. And everything we do revolves around owners. Owners are our mission. They're our focus. We know that if our owners are happy and making money, then we're going to be happy and making money. Vail Resorts does a lot of things, including lodging, and they have to wear a lot of hats. I'm not saying they can't chew gum and walk at the same time, but first and foremost, they're a resort operator, and they do that very effectively. And then in the lodging category, they have a lot of lodging. So, the properties that are within their inventory that don't get the same attention that we give to our properties. And just as there's a lot of things I could talk about of how we do things differently. Again, Canyons or Vail is a great company, but as I look at how they manage and represent their inventory, this is a screenshot of the Sundial, one of their properties at the Canyons, and how they represent them. This is 100% of the listing for the Sundial. They have some copy, they have a few photos that are small, and they lead with a bathroom shot, which is just not the best strategy. And the same is true for all of their other properties. Whereas with our approach, we're very much trying to visually sell the experience, visually sell the property, and focus on lodging. As we look at meta booking capabilities that we talked about, where we see the Silver King now has this ability, now we look at Vail and a lot of our competitors, they don't have that ability at this time. A site like Kayak is only representing the major online travel services. This is an example of TripAdvisor, where you can see that official hotels, so we're listed here as booking direct. We do very well in reviews overall. This is a screenshot of a review pro for the Sundial Lodge by All Seasons Resort Lodging. That property is split, half managed by us, half managed by Vail. Here's theirs, Sundial by Canyons. So while we have an 86% at the exact same property, they have a 79%. And with all of the properties at the base, Grand Summit, Silverado, Sundial, Sunrise, Westgate, our managed inventory scores the highest. So we're overall we're very proud with how we manage the reviews. We're very focused on direct bookings. We bid heavily on pay-per-click. Do very well in the pay-per-click and the organic environment. Here's Silver King. We're bidding the top spot. We're also the top organic result right here. Over at Sundial, we're the only ones bidding on Sundial, and we're also the top organic result as well. And that's all. So if you made it this far in the presentation, congratulations. And I thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, again, this is Jason Linder. Feel free to reach out to me at 435-645-9586 or email me at jason@asrlodging.com. Thank you very much.